Hello friends, welcome to our concluding session on this module of pricing. So, we were talking about the methods of setting the prices, and then we have started discussing about the different methods which are available at the disposal of a marketeer to probably to use them for coming out with the final prices of their product. And we have discussed about markup pricing, we have discussed about target return pricing, we have discussed about perceived value pricing. Now, just to give you a brief recap of what we have discussed in this three different types of pricing method. Markup pricing is about this formula that you have a desired return on sales in your mind as a marketeer. You assess the what should be the ideal desired return on scale, so that you can achieve the amount of profit or revenues that you are targeting, as well as you assess what will be the market response or what kind of market response will be, and then based on those things you basically come out that markup price is unit cost divided by 1 minus desired return on sales. You can recall that I gave you an example in this numerical calculation that if a product is of unit cost is 80 rupees and your desired return on sales is 20%, the markup pricing will come out to be 100 rupees. Now, I also told you about this thing that markup pricing actually misses on the some of the important contingent factors which are present in the market, like competition, perceived value of the product, and the demand, the current demand of the product. So, these factors are ignored in this pricing method, though despite these things, this method is popular in some of the industries. The industry wise practices are markup pricing, because it is quite a simplified method of pricing a product, and estimation of demand compared to estimation of the demand, the estimation of cost is much more easier, and in that way the pricing is easier for marketeer to implement actually. Then I talked about target return pricing. Target return pricing actually assumes or predict that with what kind of sales level a product will achieve, and based on that the number of unit that will be sold, you apply this formula of target return pricing and you get basically the final value of target return price. So, then the third method was now one thing I would like to again for to bring your notice on here is this target return pricing and this markup pricing is more of a seller's perspective, that what they want to basically price, or what is their cost and how they want to sell. On the other side, the next method that I have discussed was perceived value pricing, which is more from the customer side, or the benefit that is being offered by a product, or the value that is being catered by a product. So, perceived value pricing is about the total benefits that a product creates and what is the value of those benefit, and accordingly you price your product. So, this is more of a basically a market based, or the perceived value that a customer believes that a product is delivering. It is from that perspective, and then you basically you see that one is a seller, or one is basically more of a cost, one is of more of a perceived value. However, in the actual market you will see that that the competition is another important factor that is present. So, another type of pricing method which actually capture the essence of the competition in the market is this auction type pricing. In auction type pricing you will see that there are different ways of you will see that auctions happen in different ways. So, one is the English auctions, where you start from the lowest price point and then you move to on the highest bidder, and the product is sold to the person who bids the highest. On the other side, the Dutch auction is opposite to what the English in auction is. And here in the Dutch auction I have given you an example here is that for example, let us assume company XYZ wants to sell 10 million shares using a Dutch auction. To participate in a Dutch auction, an investor typically opens an account with company XYZ's underwriter, usually an investment bank, uh, obtains a prospectus and obtains an access code or bidder identification code with which they put their price in the auctioning process. So, Dutch auctions often occur online. During bidding, investors indicate how many shares they are willing to buy and the price they are willing to pay. Now, in this example of 10 million shares, you will see that the bidding starts at a $40 price bid, and at that price point there is no bidder which is ready to buy at $40. On the next level, which is $36, you will find that two bids comes in, and with basically that total share that these bids are ready to buy is 1 million. Now at the $35 you will find out another 4 bids are available, and at $35 the total number of cumulative share that can be sold is equals to 5 million. At $34 you will find out that you have 10 bits, and the total number of shares that can be sold is equivalent to 10 million. So, this is the final price according to Dutch auction method, that all the 10 million share can be sold at $34 to this among this 10 bids which has come online. So, in this way you will see that the price come from the ascending or in the descending order way, and whichever is the final price all the customers are sold the shares or whatever the product is at that price point. You will see to summarize this entire different method of pricing method, here you will understand that while we talk about more in terms of the cost or the seller's perspective in the case of markup and target return pricing, in the case of perceived value pricing, so you look into the maximum value that a product is creating, and then you have to also understand what is the willingness of the customer to pay. So, that is the higher or the top side or the ceiling of the pricing that can happen. On the other side, you will see that pricing will happen somewhere in between, because competition based factors also comes in, and depending on the what kind of competition you have, if you have a very fierce competition where the offerings among the different sellers are not differentiated much, or for the sake the customer does not differentiate much among the offerings of the different seller, you will see that what happens is in that case is prices are predominantly determined by the competition, you will not find out much of the difference in the prices between different seller. On the other side, when you have a very differentiated offering which is present in the market, though there might be other products or the other substitute available, but if the customer believes that the product is very different from the rest of the products available in the market, then you will see the pricing is more tilted towards perceived value pricing. Another aspect of this pricing strategy or the final price point is that depending on the kind of competition and the kind of the capacity, if the supply is more than the demand, you will see again this the pricing will move from competition based pricing towards more of recovering the total cost of the product. So, in that case prices will tend to just recover the fixed cost plus variable cost kind of scenarios for all the players in the market. So, the summary of the entire pricing till now what we have discussed is, if we try to understand this price quality perception of the customer, that customer try to assess the quality of a product depending on its price, different kind of scenarios can be built or depending on these two factors, product quality and price. So, depending on what kind of product quality your product is delivering, whether it is low, medium or high, or price is on a low, medium or high side, you will see that when your product is the cheap and the product quality is also very low, then that is a basically cheap value strategy where the customer is not at all expecting a product of high quality and neither they have the money to pay for that. So, that is a cheap value strategy. On the other side, you will see that when your product quality is of highest in nature and your prices are on a highest side, that is a basically a premium strategy. On the other side, there are some more recommended strategy like high value strategy where your product quality is high, but your prices are on the medium side. So, in that case basically you are delivering a superior value or what you say high value strategy. The cases where product quality is high, but you are selling at a very low price, that is a superb value strategy, though it may sound very good in terms of that it will attract lot of customer, but one has to also look into the financial viability of this kind of pricing strategy. There are number of companies which are also operating in India which offer the superior value, basically something like this, at a medium price level they provide a very high quality product to the customer, in the sense companies like Indigo Airlines, or if you take Bata, or you take Liberty, or if you take the example of Big Bazaar, they are all coming out with a very good quality product, or they are offering very good quality services, but their prices are not that high. So, this is a basically superior value kind of a strategy. On the other side, you also have certain products where the product quality is not that high, but the prices are basically on a very higher side. So, those are sort of a rip off kind of product, and in those cases the customer are not going to prefer, unless and until it is a scenario where you do not have any other substitute for those kind of product, and those are essential product without which the customer cannot survive actually. So, with this basically that I come on the last step of this setting the price is that selecting the final price. Now, when we go for we have selected the pricing method and we are coming on to this final price point, we need to also look into the certain other factors like what is the impact of other marketing activities, what are the companies the pricing policy of that company or the organization, gain and risk sharing pricing policy, and impact of prices on other parties. So, these are some of the important things which needs to be considered before finally setting the prices, and I will talk about some of these things in next few slides. So, you see basically this one thing is that whatever price you set, you need to basically adapt your prices, and this price adaptation happens in terms of geographical pricing, in terms of discount and allowances that you offer depending on the market and competition factors. Then you have promotional pricing, differentiated pricing. In the geographical pricing, you will see that this kind of pricing which is very obvious to be noted when you move from one place to other place, particularly when you move from one country to the other country, or for that matter sometimes from one city to other city, or from one state to the other state, you will find that prices vary. And why the prices vary? Because of the different demand and the supply factor, because the cost of delivering a product might be higher in one state compared to the other state. For that matter, the transportation cost, the cost of the people or the labor cost might be higher, that are going as an input cost into the production and the delivery of those products. So, in those cases you will find out, since the cost is higher, automatically the prices of the product are going to be on a higher side, and in those cases the pricing has to vary depending on these variables, the variation in these some of these variables. Another important aspect of this geographical price adaptation is that sometimes you will also observe that the demand also varies for the product from context to context. So, in one culture probably where austerity is the way of life, on the other culture where people love to indulge in the products. So, you will find out that restaurant might price on a higher side where probably people love to basically hang outside with the people. On the other side, you will find out that the other place where austerity and all those kind of philosophical paradigms probably exist, the customer may not be ready to pay a much higher or in those kind of scenarios. So going out and having time with friends might not be probably a very common idea. In those cases you will see that prices are not that high to at least get some kind of hold on the market. So this is basically one example of geographical price adaptation. Then you have discounts and allowances in the form that you provide cash discount that this is very common in the B2B trade or any trade transaction, that if the customer pays all the amount all the price of a product, then they get certain kind of a certain amount of cash discount in terms of 2%, 3% kind of the going rate of this cash discount. Then you have quantity discount, that as you increase as you buy more of a product, okay, you will see in a grocery product or in or many other product, you will see that this kind of thing exists even in the consumer market, that the more that you buy you will get the more discount. However, in Indian context you will also see that there are certain products where you buy more, but as you buy more the product price is on a higher side. One example of this is that shampoo. So the shampoo that comes in sachet is much cheaper compared to the bottled shampoo product, where the price is on a higher side. So one has to understand, because which is more important and which kind of segment they are selling to. Then you have functional discount that is offered to your trade partners depending on the kind of job or the kind of activities or the kind of value added activities they are providing to you. So if they are partnering to you in the trade promotion, if they are keeping extra stock of your product, so in those case functional discounts are also provided to your trade partners. And then you have seasonal discount that is being offered to trade partners, in the sense that if you are selling more number of unit in off time or off season, then probably you get a better price. There are other kind of basically price adaptation is things like barter, compensation deal, buyback arrangement, offset. So basically the sellers basically try to come out with a mechanism so that the buyer, if he is not able to pay directly, they can pay in terms of other product or other services. Like one example is that when Pepsi sells that cola syrup to its partners in the Russia, they sell that in return for the vodka. It sounds a good deal that you get basically a liquor in return of the Pepsi that you sell. So these are the different kind of arrangement which are possible. Then there are different kind of promotional pricing and tactics which exist, like loss leader pricing, that you sell certain product as a loss so that you attract you sell a product basically at the bare minimum price, or you try to just recover the cost of the product so that you can attract the customer to your basically place, and you can acquire the customer, so that is seen as the sacrifice for the profit margin for those product is seen as the customer acquisition cost. Then you have a special event pricing, that you sell a product on a certain occasion at a different price point or on lower prices, so that you try to promote or you try to sell more number of product. So cash rebates I have already discussed. Low interest financing, which is very popular in the case of automobile, you try to minimize the initial cost of the customer, and you try to make the pricing which is easier for customers to afford, and then you try to basically break the pricing in a way that the customer can pay in installment or the easy EMI, and which are manageable for them to afford on. Then you have longer payment terms, you try to basically increase the term of or the time period in which the customer pays. Then you have differentiated pricing. Now this is something which is an important aspect of the pricing, is that marketeers tend to price product differently depending on the customer segment they are selling, that depending on the product form they are selling, the kind of image they have, the channel pricing, the location, the time and the yield. So, depending on this thing you will find out that the pricing is differentiated. And you will often seen that customer depending on the customer segment, whether if you are a premium segment or basically where you are a mass segment, the pricing will differ. You will see that in the basically airlines, the customer in the economy are charged differently compared to basically what customers are charged for the business class, because they are offered different kind of services, convenience, all the different kind of things. In those case the customer segment pricing will see different level of pricing. Now you will also see that sometimes that that the product is not changed, but the kind of ambience or the kind of environment or the associated services which are offered with the product, that will actually cause a differentiation in the pricing. Another differentiation in the pricing that can be observed is in product form pricing, that if you change the form of the product, the prices will differ, because changing the form may make it easier for customer to have basically use the product, or it will increase the kind of the convenience or the utility of the product will get increased. So, the product form pricing is one I have talked about, the IRCTC pricing, where if you book the tickets online you get a product at a the same product, the railway might be saving the money, but since you are getting more convenience, the online pricing is on a higher side. Another type of product form pricing is that you see that a product is offered at the three level. A basic product, in the case of the automobile, the base model will cost you the least. On the other side, the premium model with added features and some added components or some other benefits, you will find out in the case of the highest variant will probably come at the much higher price. Then you will see that the price also changes with this yield. Actually this phenomena which is very common in the case of the services is that if you book the ticket much ahead of the time, if you book a ticket for an airlines 3 months prior to the travel, then the prices might be on the lowest side, but if you book the same ticket for that airlines, maybe 1 week before that the prices might be on the highest side. So, and in the same airlines industry you will also find out that some airlines might be offering a the last minute prices might be very less. That is very common practice in the probably US and Europe among some of the airlines, where they do not want their capacity to go wasted, because if a seat remain vacant in an aircraft, it is basically a lost capacity. So, in those cases they just want to have the bare minimum cost or the lowest price is being offered to customer to recover some kind of cost from those kind of customers. So, these are basically the different examples of differentiated pricing, and you have something like how you can increase the prices, or in which cases the prices are increased is some of the examples are given here. Is a delayed quotation pricing, where you do not submit the pricing at the beginning, you understand that cost is subject to variation. In those cases, once the project gets completed or the product is finally delivered, you try to give the prices at that point of time. Some service provider, or in some cases the in the product or the contract which a buyer and seller gets into, there is an arrangement for the escalation in the prices, in the sense like if the currency fluctuation happens or the inflation happens, in those case the seller can revise the prices, and that is another way of differentiated pricing also. So, with this I will stop here, and most of the things I have covered in this pricing module, and maybe you can go back and just revise all the concept that we have discussed, and if you have any other query regarding this topic, you can post in our discussion forum, and when we will meet in the next week, we will talk about another module or we will start a new topic on this marketing management part 2. Thank you very much.